Everyone, welcome to the May 27 Town of Lewisboro Town Board meeting. For those in the room, the exits are towards the front of the building and to the rear of the building. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with public comment. Anybody here would like to say anything?
I'm not sure if we're supposed to go.
If it's public comment, whatever you want to say, yes. Your name, Hamlet, and you have 3 minutes.
Okay, Christine and Brian Bilby from Walkabuck. We live on Mead Street. We've been there for over 20 years. And we're here today after speaking with John Winter. The traffic has really proliferated on Mead Street, but what's really significant is the number of very, very large trucks. In fact, just last weekend, we were headed to a flea market at 6:45 a.m. on a Sunday. And one of the curves, there's got some very deep curves, and a truck was coming upon us. We had to back up to let him go by. So it's why we're speaking to that today, simply because we think some of the truck signs that we've seen around in the local area could really help. Maybe at the base of Mead at 35. And then, of course, Mead turns into Post, which then meets Hawley. And so you kind of need a cooperation with North Salem to make that happen too, because it's way too late to turn around once you head up Post.
Right.
So that's really why we're here, just to speak to that. It's very much tearing up the roads. In fact, with the speeds that people travel on, and of course, a lot of the trucks with their trailers, we often get shocks with the noise and the speed and the safety. It just concerns us. It doesn't seem an appropriate road for such large vehicles.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for that feedback.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Just to quickly echo.
And your name?
I'm Brian Bilby, Christine's husband.
Okay.
And we both live at 233 Mead Street.
Okay.
And I just wanted to quickly start by saying, I realize this is not the most pressing problem in Lewisboro, in a place the size of Lewisboro. I know there's more serious issues than this, but the traffic on Mead Street in the 20 plus years we've been here has really become unrelenting.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it's certainly become a quality of life issue, and I'm sure it has for a number of our neighbors. So the simple first step of trying to eliminate through trucks to us seems like it would really be a significant, it'd be just a strong kind of first measure. We love that it happens on Hawley Road now, that I guess you guys voted that in, no through trucks allowed. And Mead Street has just really become, I think, very dangerous in a way.
Mm-hmm.
The police are doing a good job of, we've noticed a much larger presence with them, with really trying to sort of maintain the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. But I think really even more needs to be done. And people are shocked when they hear the extent of the traffic on the street. As a quick example, I would say between 7:30 to 9 or 9:30 every weekday morning,
Mm-hmm.
there probably are 400 to 500 cars that go by. It's unrelenting. We see cars pass by our house, I'd say every 4 to 5 seconds.
Right.
For a while. So it's turned into like a sort of a major urban, like Christine said.
Drive, so it's sort of, it can be a danger.
Yeah. So anyway, we
Right.
just wanted to give voice.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you guys recognize, maybe you're already aware of this, the challenges on Mead Street,
Mm-hmm.
maintaining the speed limits and also the trucks coming through. So that's our sort of 2 cents.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. Anyone else would like to come up and speak? How about on Zoom?
Yes, Barbara Mangione, I'm asking you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I don't know if the chief is there tonight. I do know something from the police department is on the agenda. If he is there, I'd like him to hear this as well as the town board. I want to extend my thanks to them. In the last couple of weeks, I've had to call them twice for 2 very, very different things. This morning, they came out right away. We had a rabid raccoon in the middle of our front yard. So they came out and helped us with that. Officer York was very nice because we had to kind of coax, unfortunately, the sick little guy out from behind a shrub, so that we could take care of the situation. And also, unfortunately, I have had the very unfortunate circumstance to a couple of people know about it now, have an internet stalker. Very scary, sending some very bizarre things to me, both on social media and trying to reach me via phone. And our police department has been really, really, really nice about trying to help. It's an almost impossible situation to solve because the person has been anonymous and keeps changing profiles. But the officer that was sent out to help me was very, very caring, very reassuring, and hopefully at some point maybe this person will back off, or we will figure out who it is. And I just kind of want to throw in, I know these people were talking about traffic, and I sympathize with them as a resident of Lewisboro. But if we're going to start figuring out how to prevent traffic on certain roads, it is kind of going down a very slippery slope, because if anybody sits on Increase Miller between 138 and Todd Road every single day in the morning and every single day in the evening, hundreds and hundreds of cars and major trucks, because it is one of the only ways into Lake Katona and Todd Road. So it's an unfortunate situation, and I think it has been exacerbated by traffic apps, which are redirecting all the traffic off of 84 and 684 onto our local roads. And I think it's certainly something both our town board and hopefully, at a bigger level, can maybe kind of come to some compromise onto how to slow this traffic down. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Oh, that's it.
Thank you. Okay, next, communications. I just have one item. This was a letter sent by the Westchester County Department of Health to the engineering firm that's working on the water supply system that's at Meadow Pond Elementary School. And a copy of this letter went to our building department, the building inspector. So basically, and I'll get this to our town clerk for incorporation into the minutes, but the Department of Health has approved plans for water supply improvements for treating PFAS and uranium at the Meadow Pond Elementary School, non-community public water supply at 185 Smith Ridge Road. So it's I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's very technical, but yeah, so this is a good thing. And they're getting the appropriate water treatment system that is needed at that school.
Is that good fun?
I don't know. I think the school district has to pay for it.
Well, that would be the taxpayers.
Taxpayer, right? Yeah. It's a cost of, in here, the estimated cost is $425,000.
That's correct.
Right. Okay, so that's communications. Next, I'd like to go ahead and motion for the approval of minutes of April 9th, May 12th, and May 19th. Do I have a second? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, under old business, we have, it's listed as a resolution, but this is the proposed amendment to section 220 of the town code. This is for the helipad use, which is something that the chief who's here has been advocating for. And we have feedback. The last time we discussed this, we referred it to the planning board and to the zoning board of appeals. They provided feedback, and the board has that feedback. And what I'd like to do here is schedule a public hearing for the last meeting in June, which is June 23rd. Okay.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
The planning board was also suggesting that we get some consultation on that. Right?
They did, yes, yes.
So I don't know if that's something that we want to do, or if so, what the timing would be, or relative to this.
Yeah, I think.
So they did suggest that, but there's a lot of redundancy with New York State DOT, which their guidelines and FAA guidelines and state standards kind of incorporates a lot of that. It's already spelled out. The laws and the rules are already there. So to have an outside person come in, say you need X, Y, and Z, it's already there.
I was wondering that myself, this is all covered by those other agencies, so the reference policies that or regulations that are she's seen from other towns. Are things that are already in the umbrella
Yeah,
regulation.
they're general guidelines.
And I think I spoke to our attorney on this, so, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but the, at the time of application, right, by the applicant, that's when we would make sure those issues that, for example, at DOT,
There has to
Or address.
be, it has to be referred to the Commissioner of Transportation
right,
under the general business law.
right.
So one way or another, it's going to be referred during the application process and any approval required by the state would be a
Mhm, mhm.
condition of any final approval issued by the local planning board.
Right,
So
okay,
We already have built-in regulatory stuff. We need additional redundancies.
I don't believe so.
right. And so the other thing that's left to do is to a referral to the county planning. So we would do that after,
No.
you have the
Could we do it
version of the law, you
Yeah.
don't need a motion to do it. It's an operation of
Okay.
law. It's got to go
Yeah,
into
yeah.
239M and they get 30 days.
Right.
So you're in that.
so we don't have to do it after the public hearing is closed, we do it,
No,
we
no,
do it now,
do it
If
okay,
you referred it
okay.
now, their comments will be back in time for the public hearing.
Yeah.
Right,
So if there's anything in their comments that we want to incorporate, we can do so during the course of the public hearing by incorporating their.
and it's 30 days, right, that
30
the
days.
county has?
Yeah, often the comments are back before,
Right.
or the physician statement.
Right, okay,
You get 30.
okay, so we'll,
July then, or no?
so probably, well, the public hearing, I guess we could close it, yeah, first meeting in July, that's right.
Which is the
Because for the 30 days,
Right.
today's the 27th, so.
You
we're not
won't
gonna
make the 23rd necessarily.
Right,
Okay, so you
This will be
can
the first
make it the
meeting
first
in
week in July, first meeting in July.
July
Yeah.
14th.
yes,
So the public hearing will be July 14th.
correct.
Like, make that motion, yeah. Did you, I think you said June 23rd first, so.
All right,
vote
so,
it that way.
so I'll amend that motion, well, who made the motion?
You did.
You did.
Oh, sorry. So I'll amend that motion to have the public hearing scheduled for July 14th. On the amendment to section 220 of the town code for helipads.
Second, do that.
Anybody says, all right.
I
second.
did, but
thought
it doesn't
Andrew
matter.
Okay, okay, discussion,
Discussion,
favor?
my only
Yeah.
concern is that holding public hearings over the summer. You know, if anybody has any it's just there's less people around to really comment and.
well, they
be
can
aware.
submit, they can submit
No,
comments.
no, I know, I'm just, not
Yeah.
that I'm trying to, you know. Not a lot of people around are paying attention during the summer is my point. So my only issue with having a public hearing during the summer is that people aren't gonna be aware because they're not around. That's all.
What we could do is get the word out to let people know, and people are welcome to make comment either in person or beforehand,
In right,
either
Right.
by email or other means of written communication.
Or you can leave it open on the 14th for some period of days for additional written comment.
Okay.
As well.
So
Okay.
for,
that's just my general comment with public hearings during the summer months. It's just 2 months and it's tough. And I know that we ran into some issues when we were doing the amendments to the master plan, where we were trying to do things in the summer, and we realized that there was gonna be reduced participation because everybody's taking trips and going away. That's all.
Okay,
This cheap on them. Actually, so with the comments recently referred more commentary that parts of town as far as increased traffic. Anything you have to, not in our
We have a motion open.
Oh, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to focus on the.
so
tax.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Just any suggestions are not now, but you know, just to let us know that we would address what citizens are talking about.
Sure. We'll do some traffic studies. Thank you.
and then who
Thanks,
will be
Chief.
sending me the items that I need to send to county planning?
I have a copy, so between Carrie and I, we'll get it to you, yeah. Okay,
Under old business, you should probably cover the proposed purchase.
I was gonna let it polling, but I could make a statement now, so, okay, so we had. In prior meetings, we discussed the what we're gonna do with the town office space as a result of the leased space we have at the Lewisboro Elementary School. going away. So we had a task force that came and presented. They actually visited multiple sites that we were considering. They made a recommendation. The town board met Monday of last week. And the agreement was to move forward with the purchase of 892 Route 35 in Cross River for the use of town office space.
Purchase price and amount of.
Purchase price $2,222,500. Okay. Okay, next we have new business. So first item is James Fish. Did I pronounce that correctly? Fish, sorry, James. So James is working on an Eagle Scout, will be working on an Eagle Scout project in Oldfield Preserve to build approximately 64 feet of puncheon bridges, which are also known as bob bridges, in the Oldfield Preserve along the existing Orange Trail, which is currently closed because it's too wet. And this trail will connect the preserve to East Ridge Road. So I have a file here. It's a video.
Yes. It's a video describing my project. And
Right.
I also brought with me this binder, which you guys can pass around.
Okay.
That's the photo.
Let me get the video lined up here and then I'll display it. And share it on Zoom. Second. Oh, Sean, I need permission to share. That's okay now? Okay. Okay, so let me. Backwards. The audio.
If it's not working, I brought with me my laptop.
Yeah, the audio.
I can just plug it in. Sure.
I had a problem with this earlier with the audio,
If
but
I
if
make a suggestion, if you stop sharing and reshare, there should be an option to share your sound.
share my sound. Okay. Bad sharing options.
Run the video.
We
Well,
can run
I
the-
could run the video and then.
It's a short video.
It's only a
The
minute.
Sound is not.
The sound is very important.
It is
It
very
is-
important.
It's
Okay.
the whole thing's a voiceover of me explaining the project with
Any ideas, Sean?
pictures of
The volume on the TV was also down, so try it again, it might have been that big.
Oh, hold on, actually,
There you go, share sound. If you,
It looks like the audio
Here,
on your computer's
you-
muted.
oh,
Aha.
I didn't, oh, that's the other something.
This is librarian skills.
Bridges across this section of trail in
Oh.
Oakville. Hi, my name is James Bish and I'm a Boy Scout in Troop 1 Lewisboro. For my Eagle Scout project, I'm proposing building a series of small footbridges across this section of trail in Oldfield Preserve that connects the preserve to East Ridge Road. As many of you may know, this section of trail is extremely muddy. As you can see in the video, this trail is
Okay.
very hard to walk through,
they've got,
and that's where my bridges come in. Adding footbridges like these ones, or these ones, would greatly improve access to the preserve, as this trail is borderline unwalkable. Seeing as East Ridge is a private road, I went out and got the approval of every single resident on East Ridge Road, who are all in overwhelmingly support of this project. I assured them that this trail would not have any parking on their road, as that was their main concern. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my proposal, and I'm looking forward to taking the next steps in this project.
I have to say that's a well-produced video. Well done.
Nice job, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So in the binder is just a couple of examples. I came to the open space committee meeting 2 weeks ago, and they talked about the type of bridges that are like the model of bog bridges that are town certified or whichever works for the town. And so some of the dimensions may be off, especially in the model, but whichever works with the town and whichever is the correct legal, whichever bridge works with me. So and if you guys have any questions, sure.
Who would be able to tell them that or answer that question?
So for the bridge, when you say that you have multiple options for the bridge
Yes.
design or the type of,
So when I came to the last meeting, they told me that the town has kind of model bridges that they like to put in, and that's
Okay.
the standard.
okay,
And so someone said they would work
Yeah.
with me.
Like,
was it
so
Mike?
like surgeon.
Mike, yes, that was.
Mike.
Coordinate to make sure it's up to the standards of everything.
Yeah, okay.
And
okay,
on
that's
top
good,
of that, a couple days ago, I met with the wetlands inspector,
Mhm.
and I confirmed with him the project, and he said, "Go ahead, all good." So
I was gonna say, he also has specs on bridges.
yes, he
Yeah,
said,
so-
yeah, that the town would have
Right.
blueprints
Right, okay.
and whatnot.
What's your time frame? Oh, sorry, what's your time frame? Like start and finish?
Whenever I'm approved, I'm ready to go.
No, I know, but do you have an
Oh, how
estimated
many?
time that you think it's gonna take you to complete the project?
Probably around a couple weeks, maybe 2 weeks. It could be faster. It can be done however fast. it needs to
It's
be.
very optimistic, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Great work with the community engagement piece.
Yeah.
That's a really neat thing to get them involved.
You mentioned the town certified, does that have any statutory, regulatory, we're just doing what we have passed based on past practices and we're good?
Yeah, most of the Eagle Scout projects, all we ask for is for the troops to provide insurance for the town during the course of the improvements being done. I don't know that the building department's ever been involved in any of the footbridge ones. But you certainly can have the building department look over what's being proposed, make recommendations for what's best.
We have no requirement.
I think the building department's been through the sort of standard bridge types already. That's
Certainly on the bridge that we've been building, kind of got our blueprint that we reproduce now, and the building department was involved in this. This on the bog bridges, I don't know if they don't have any, at least newer ones in any of the preserves, but this is a much simpler construction than the bridge, because you're at ground level.
I was gonna say, there is an example of bog bridge over connecting Increase Miller to Fox Valley. There's some bog bridges there, like Sun Building. So,
And there are also a couple in Leon Levy Reserve as well. Because I remember
yes,
hauling
yes.
some wood
Right,
myself with Mike and
and the cross-country trail as well.
Yeah,
behind the middle school.
Simpler construction help on the back end as far as maintenance.
Yeah, I think the only thing we made was, I think, taking over from 6x6s to 8x8s.
Yes.
For that's pretty muddy in that section.
Yeah.
That section, so I think that the 6x6 might not be substantial, so we recommended that he upgrade to 8x8 for the base.
better
Right,
coverage.
sounds good.
Well done.
So we have to motion to permit
Thank you.
James to do this project at Old Field Preserve.
I second that motion.
Subject to the appropriate insurance as outlined by our attorney.
So modified.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, James.
Good luck.
I just have one quick question. So
Uh-huh.
in order for me to prove that I came to this meeting and you guys approved it, I can send you guys an email and just a response saying that you guys said that it was all right.
Yes.
Who should
There'll
I?
be a
There'll be a
resolution.
resolution, so that'll be the proof we
writing.
need.
Oh, all right, perfect.
Yeah.
And a
Thank you.
video too.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, we have another Eagle Scout project from Bart Colano.
Yep.
So Bart, let me get your file up here.
Thanks.
Okay, so. So this is it, Brownell Preserve? Oh, I have to share it, that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so my project is gonna consist of approximately about 48 feet of boardwalk and 20 feet of bridge. So right on the screen, there's
with the
that's
circle.
like the approximate location. I don't have like the exact location, kind of difficult to find that, but it's in that area. That's a map of Brownell Preserve. I added in the AT&T road. It's not an official trail, it's like a service road bit, but we're gonna be using that to just transport materials. So that's what that image
Right.
shows.
Is that the road that leads up to the cell tower? Isn't it?
No, yeah, there's,
AT&T right away.
yeah, I think
Oh, right,
there's like
okay.
a fiber
It's not
optic.
Fiber.
Yeah, there's
okay.
fiber optic
Okay.
under that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the next image. Yeah, so that's like a rough sketch of what the bridge would look like. It's not final, it's not like the town's it's not the town's specs, I guess. It's just a bit like a rough visualization. It would be 3 feet wide, 20 feet long. And the materials on the bottom left, and they're color coded, so it's easy to see. I think I have an image in that binder.
You do, yes.
Yeah.
And it needs a railing because there's a certain height there, or?
Yeah, so yes, on the image, there's 3 2x6s. They are 10, they're each 10 feet long, but yeah, we're gonna have multiple of those to put on. One of them is about, I don't know the exact like height, because it depends on the location of the site. But they're about like halfway up to here, then there's on the top, and then there's like 2 of them. So you can hold on to it, and they block, it's just there to help people cross. I have an image later on that shows what the location would look like. But it's just to help people cross the like the very steep valley. And yeah, so that's what that image is for. And the next 2 images are just examples of what the bridges might look like. I think those 2 bridges are already there at Brownell. I'm just gonna build one more. So that's what they would look like. That's just a rough example. And that's what the railing looks like. And yeah, that's what the site, the location of the bridge looks like. It's very rough. There's a stream running through the middle. So that's the reason for the bridge to be built.
That's the stream here going across left to right.
Yeah.
Would you come up? Good idea for the project.
I've been at that site a couple of times, and also I just through my troop, a couple of people know Mr. Surde, and he also partly gave me the idea for the project. So I'm working with him on this project, and it would just help out with the trails a lot because it's very uneven. So it's very unsafe, to be honest, for guests. Yeah.
Right.
And the 3 feet is, Mike thinks it's wide enough.
Yeah, originally I had it at 4, but at the OSPAC meeting that I was at earlier, they said that 4 feet is too wide. They should change it to 3 feet.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
Welcome to the human race.
Say it 3 times, he shows up.
All right, and so that's the boardwalk. That's not, I put 48 feet, but that's, the whole thing isn't gonna be 48 feet. It's gonna be like in segments. But in total, it's gonna add up to 48 feet. It's,
And these are separate segments, like throughout the,
yeah, I have
area.
I have an image later on that shows a site. Yeah, there it is, yeah. So, yeah, that's not 48 feet right there, but that's just what one portion of the boardwalk will look like on the site.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, that was taken during winter, it just, so you can't really see the stream, but there is some water running through there. You can't see on the picture too, but there's rocks there, so you can't, there's not a smooth path. It's very rocky, very uneven. So the boardwalk's gonna, you don't need a bridge in that location because there's no like deep valley there. But it's very uneven, so the boardwalk would help out a lot in crossing that terrain.
So how many segments do you think you'll need altogether? for the boardwalk?
It really depends on how the footing looks,
Mm.
how the like foundations will look once they're set in. But as of right now, I'm not really sure how many segments are gonna be broken up to.
I'm gonna chime in. The design is,
Mike, so there are
Sure,
friends at
sorry,
home
sorry.
can hear.
I'm loud enough usually to be heard anywhere. Sorry, Bart.
introduce yourself.
The design is for 4 segments.
This is Mike Surday, everyone.
The game plan is that water will be running seasonally and actively perpendicular to the structures we're putting up. We've been able to do 12-foot spans using 2x8s without having any deflection. So that will allow us to have foundation blocks in between and water crossing. So the goal is to have 4 12-foot sections.
When you say deflection for our friends at home, could you explain?
Right, so basically, if you put a board this way under your deck or joist, the further apart your supports are, the more likely you're gonna have for the board to bow under pressure.
Okay.
Based on our previous constructions, we've been able to do 12-foot spans without any deflection.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
So yeah, for the image before with the sketch, that shows had just another rough sketch similar to the earlier image. It's just that's not just like the town's like blueprint. That's just a rough visualization of what it would look like. Again, color coded materials on the bottom left. That's like an approximation of how much of each material I would need.
What's your shopping list?
But yeah, pretty much. So yeah, just to help visualize what it would look like. I think that's all I have. Yeah. Yeah, any questions?
Any questions from the board?
No,
No?
I think we reached round table.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Bart. Another great project, so. Like to go ahead and motion that we permit Bart Colino to proceed with his Eagle Scout project as described here at the Brunel Preserve.
I'll second that.
Discussion, all in favor,
Subject to the appropriate
subject to the appropriate
insurance.
insurance. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Mark.
Here's your. Pleasure.
Just gonna stop sharing here. Okay.
Sit, relax. You're out of here.
You're welcome to stay if you want.
Good night.
Yeah, have a good night. Okay, next we have presentation by Pavement Management Group, and John, if you can maybe step up and just a quick summary as to what Pavement Management Group is and what they're presenting.
One of our superintendent lunches, through our local Westchester Putnam County Association of Highway Superintendents, it's a long acronym. We had this presentation and I thought it was a great investment. And instead of explaining it to you, I'll let the person we're gonna buy it from and work with, I'll let them explain it because I'm not gonna middleman it, let's make it life easier.
So we have a
So, Howard?
special guest.
Special.
Yes.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you very much for the invitation, and Superintendent Winter, thank you very much for inviting me here. I'm Howard Mills with Pavement Management Group. And Sean, if you wouldn't mind just getting me sharing. Get that going. Thank you. So I'm a former Walkill Town Supervisor in Orange County. I know a little bit about pavement management from my experience in the old days, but without this technology. I'm a partner of Pavement Management Group. I found this company. They're based in Ohio. So impressed with what they do. I invested so I could become a partner and bring this to New York State. And the first client that we have in New York State is actually here in Westchester County. The Village of Scarsdale, New York. Jeff Coleman, the Commissioner of Public Works, is a very good reference for us. And since I've become a partner, we've now been expanding all over New York State. So let me just jump into the presentation and.
Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm just trying to get the full screen here.
Yeah,
It's
thank you
not-
very much.
It's not cooperating.
So what we do is we have a program that helps municipalities maximize the taxpayers' investment. You can demonstrably demonstrate that the roadways are improving, and you will actually, over time, sticking with the program, be able to improve your roads while spending less money, initially maximizing the investment.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay. Let's see, let me get my bearings here. So, oh, okay. All right, so this is a demonstration of the Road Insights dashboard. This is the Village of Hempstead, a client of ours in Nassau County. And I would draw your attention to for the purpose of this conversation, you need to know what the Pavement Condition Index, or PCI, is. The Pavement Condition Index was developed by the Army Corps of Engineers as a methodology of evaluating roadways. 0 is a very poor failed road, 100 is a perfect brand new road. So the PCI 0 to 100, you obviously, the higher the PCI, the better your roads. So our program begins with capturing high definition video of your entire roadway network. It's a turnkey operation. We do everything. So we would bring our car in, take high definition video, and that is the basis, that data collection for everything that I'm about to present to you here. So you see the Village of Hempstead has 71.7 miles. Their average pavement condition index for the entire roadway network is a 59, not very good, needs some improvement. And the backlog is $14.9 million. Now, what do I mean by the backlog? That means that if the Village of Hempstead did everything that we're recommending on this map, and I'll explain that in a moment, what all the colors mean, it would cost $14.9 million. Now, where do we get that figure? We work with our clients at the outset of the process. So we would sit down with Superintendent Winter. We get all of the unit pricing for Lewisboro. We maintain relationships with contractors in every geography that we work. And these numbers are actually very accurate. But again, there's steps throughout the process, working with the superintendent, and he would be verifying that all these figures that we're using are accurate. So looking at the map, the blue roads are excellent, green are good, yellow fair, orange poor, and red are failed. And you can group the roads by categories. So there are all the excellent and good roads in the Village of Hempstead. You'll notice that the KPIs, the key performance indicators, reset. We're now looking at 22.7 miles with an average PCI of 86 and a backlog of $625,000.
There a uniform standard of road condition?
Yes, there are. So that's what the pavement condition index is done for. So to evaluate the PCI, to create that, there are 20 recognized roadway distresses that go into the pavement condition index, that we capture all those with our video. Every one of those roadway distresses has to have a severity of low, medium, or high assigned to it. So it actually is quite a process, but the PCI to the ASTM, the American Society of Testing Material Standards, is recognized as the universal standard and the best standard to evaluate a roadway. And everyone, in the industry understands that.
And the KPI, is that like for the year, an annual KPI or something? You just mentioned.
Well, these KPIs are changing. So these are the key performance indicators that we're showing on this top chart. So we're looking at 3 right here, the PCI, the miles, and the back.
It would reflect what's actually happening on the road.
Correct. Absolutely. So, we break all of the roadway treatments into 5 categories. There are many treatments, as the superintendent knows, but they all will fall into one of 5 categories: rejuvenation, maintenance, preservation, structural, or rehab. Obviously, and the colors coordinate with the condition of the road. So obviously, a rejuvenation treatment is a very inexpensive treatment you put down on a new road. Rehabilitation is a full depth reclamation, rebuilding a very poor failed road. So let's get right to the way the program works. At any point in this map, you can go on any road and click on it. And now the internet may run a little bit slowly here, but it does run in full speed. And right away, we're getting a lot of data. So we break all the roads into logical sections. So we're looking here at Grove Street. We're showing the length, the width, and the square footage of that street. The surface type is asphalt. The PCI is 20. It's a failed road. We're recommending a rehabilitation, and we're telling what it will cost, $41,572. And you go and you get eyes on it, and you can verify, see, that's a pretty rough road. And that is how we get the data to make all of our recommendations. Now, the way you can use this, so I'm talking to superintendent, one of the best treatments that you do for roads, and I saw it on the way coming in today, is crack sealing, okay? Very effective maintenance treatment, keep the water out. We recommend crack sealing. Well, now the Village of Hempstead, when they put out a contract for an external contractor for crack sealing, they say, okay, these are all the roads that need crack sealing. It represents 11.7 miles, and that is what we expect to pay for. So now the municipality is really empowered in the contracting process. You know what the costs are. And I can tell you that the good contractors who want to submit the good fair prices, they actually like this. We work with a lot of contractors in promoting this pavement management program because they want to submit good fair bids.
For the rehabilitations, do you sometimes indicate pavement reclamation? Pavement,
Oh, yes, we know all the treatments. We recommend, hold in place recycling, all the different treatments. We absolutely recommend
that level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the way our program works is this is not a one-off. We deliver this report and we're done. We're roadway expert consultants. So with this 2-year contract, the town of Lewisboro would have access to our roadway experts. John or his staff could call and say, hey, guys, we've never done a Cape seal. What do you think of that treatment? Questions like that. You have technical support in the dashboard. And at the end of every season, Superintendent Winter would submit to us what work they did. We will adjust the pavement condition index for those roads. For those roads that did not get any work done with this data capture, we can very accurately attach a deterioration curve where the PCI would drop and keep it up to date and current for you.
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, that's okay.
Does this need to get done in order to keep us up to date? Because obviously we can't pave all our roads in 1 year, so it takes several years. So I was wondering how we monitored how the roads continue to deteriorate and if they stay at the same level or.
Or in the reverse, if we've improved and paved 11 miles of road in the last 9 months, will it show up?
Yes, will. So we will take that data. We will update the PCI for those roads, and you'll have a very accurate PCI as you go. Our typical contract is a 2-year contract. We do only one data capture in the first year. We continue the PCI update in the second year, and then getting to your question, Councilwoman, really the data, you will refresh that data. So we, on the 3rd year, come back, start the contract again, and do another data capture. And that is the proposal that we submitted to Lewisboro so far.
And can this data be available for public consumption? Like on
That
the
is up
website?
to you.
Yeah.
So this is not a software program.
Okay.
This is delivered in an ArcGIS link. It's simply an internet link, and you decide. The superintendent, the town board, you decide how you want to use the information.
Right.
And access it.
No, because I think it'd be great to show the progression as John is improving the roads year after year.
We could talk about that, but is there an option? I know with some speaking as far as electronic resources, some publishers or purveyors of information give a discount for a slightly longer length of a contract. Is that something that your company does as well? Or is it just a 2-year?
we would do it, we could definitely do a longer term contract if you were interested in doing that. We have a New York State comptroller approved piggyback contract for all of New York State with the town of Smithtown in Suffolk County. And the proposal that I've shared with the superintendent has a link to that Smithtown piggyback. So the pricing is built in. And while we're talking pricing, one of the things that we're really pleased about with our business model is this is a very affordable program. We charge this year for our New York State piggyback contract. The price is $265 per center lane mile driven. So the town of Lewisboro has approximately a 100-mile network. The proposal that we submitted is for $25,705, and that is for 2 years. That is for 2 years, and that is probably about 3% of your annual roadway improvement budget, that $25,000. That's what our program always works out to be. So we say the return on investment is immediate because you get all the value right up front. You'll maximize your program. The superintendent will have great tools in budgeting, communications, and so forth. And let me get to some of that. So, other things that we do here in the Village of Hempstead, most roads are asphalt, of course, but they have 4 miles of concrete road. And there they are. And I could show you, but I know time is short. Budgeting projections. Here we're showing what funding levels will result in the PCI. So the Village of Hempstead, if they were to drop their budget to $1 million, their PCI, which was 56 at the beginning of the program, it would drop to a 54. If they increase their funding, it'll go to 58. If they increase it to 1.5, they can get a PCI of 62. These figures track very, very accurately, so you'll be able to really share with the public, with your constituents, the superintendent, with the board, the impacts of funding levels.
We have a little bit of a history with the Cornell program.
We know it well.
As a history, we did not really execute it. We just had the first year, and there were all these discussions about, geez, if you do it right, you can optimize, you can over time, you can reduce your overall cost of it. We never did that. Do you have that also, that concept dialed into this and your consulting that you would do with us?
That's a great question. I'm very familiar with the Cornell program. I was doing that in the 1990s when I was Wallkill supervisor. Our founder, the gentleman who developed this, company's based in Ohio. When I met the gentleman, James Golden, who had founded this in Ohio, he had started out boots on the ground roadway assessment as a 19-year-old. Very familiar with that program. To answer your question, yes, what this does, and as a former town supervisor, I really appreciate the value. This becomes a legacy that can be passed on. We have clients in Ohio that have been clients of PMG for 10, 15 years. The program survives changes in political administration, changes in political party, because it just works. So yes, this will institutionalize this program. It makes it very, very easy to keep up with it. And our retention rate on our clients is 87%. Because it just works.
There's an art to deciding, am I going to take my dollars and put them on some of these early stage things and, get many more miles out of that? Or am I addressing, some road that's in worse shape, but needs a full reclamation?
Yes.
But if you do that.
Well, it is an art.
Balance there.
And so that's a great question. And I'll show you an example. So this is what many municipalities do every year. They look at their worst roads, the roads that are in worse shape, and they spend the bulk of their budget on these roads, which, kind of makes sense. But the problem is that they don't have the money to do the routine maintenance on these roads. And we know asphalt begins to deteriorate the day it goes down. The quality of asphalt is not what it was today 20 years ago with changes in its composition. If you maintain enough money to periodically go back and treat your excellent and good roads, and here we see we've got an 86 PCI, 22.7 miles, and for $625,000, you can significantly extend the life of that roadway, and that is the art of pavement management. Because over time, what you want to do is you start spending more of your budgets in these areas as opposed to these areas, and you're doing much less expensive treatments.
Question.
Sure.
Is government not doing this at any level?
Well,
Or based upon either technology, whatever, again, where Dan, I'd like if you can, because you're familiar with the Cornell study.
Sure.
You could just, as a framework, talk about what that did, and what you're offering now, as far as an update, whether it's the technology, whatever.
the Cornell program is an excellent program. The challenge is that it's usually done by summer interns and the staff moves on. They do not have the dashboard. It does not have the technology that makes it something that is sustainable and then you can pass on and becomes a legacy. And you own all the data. So for example, it's not just the dashboard. I'd like to show you, this is the data where the data resides that powers the dashboard. So here you have every street in the town, all this critical information that you need. You've got the froms, the tos, the square footage for every section of roadway, what the shoulder looks like, the construction date, what the pavement condition index is. And so the street that we're looking at right now, we're calling for a structural recommendation. Again, this is mirrored on the dashboard. Unit cost of $2.11. Project cost, total project cost, $31,000. We're saying the PCI is a 4, so a poor road. So now, right from the spreadsheet, you can go and, of course, take a look at the video and verify if that is indeed what we're seeing. Now, you can slow down the video so you can see it better. And here we are seeing transverse cracking, alligator cracking, block cracking, patching, all the things you'd expect to see in a Category 4 road. That's one of the beauties of this program, and one of the real benefits of it is it's completely transparent and objective. It's really impossible to say that, well, this is a bad recommendation, this is a wrong treatment, this PCI is not correct, because you can verify with your own eyes with this definition, high definition video, the conditions that exist.
And then
So-
we could adjust the PCI from the spreadsheet.
Oh, no, we do all that data. So one of the other things about the dashboard that we want to maintain the integrity of it is that we would do all that input. So
But you
that
said
the
we
dashboard cannot be talked to. So you would send us the data, we would update it.
The data is what
Okay.
impacts the, or updates the PCI.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Does this program, does it also reflect roads that are not paved as well? Because within our community, we have a number of roads that are not paved.
So you have some gravel roads? Yes.
Just-
Yes, yep, absolutely. We would film all those. Now, the pavement condition index would not, apply, but we would
Of course not.
absolutely maintain all that data for you as well.
Okay, I
Um,
believe it's 11 miles, right?
Greg, is there any potential liability aspect of this from the town perspective? Because you're essentially memorializing.
Yeah, I mean, anything that comes in on the PCI that's low enough serves as written notice, right?
We actually,
We've always understood that as long as you have a program, a systematic program to go one by one and address road issues, the fact that you know about an issue doesn't, unless it's something, drastic enough that, anybody that drives through is gonna have an accident, that you shouldn't be liable for that.
Well,
Is that not the case?
thank you for that. And that is in fact, our position. And I will share with you an article from insurance. I was also New York State Insurance Commissioner at one point. Our program is actually a robust defense against roadway defect litigation, because nowadays what we're seeing is most towns have a report a pothole feature on their website. If you're driving on Waze, you can be reporting potholes. Municipalities already have this data. The question becomes, what are you doing with the data? Now you're able to say, we have a disciplined, robust plan to improve the roadways, that we can document where we are doing it, and you'll keep on top of that. And then you can get to a point with the good and excellent roads in your town with these routine treatments and extended life of the roadways that you will cease to have potholes. You can literally eliminate potholes occurring with the proper routine maintenance and upkeep. And Sean, I'm sorry, but I am not able to close this out because every time I go in here, it gives me a drop down bar. If you can just get me back, so I finish the presentation.
While Sean's doing that,
Yes. I need to
from the
close this
question
and
of
get back.
security of information and
Give me, drag this out of the way.
programs, they're
Back on it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Your systems are secure electronically?
Yes, yes.
Because in this day and age, there's a lot going on. I know with my day job, we're trained on a regular basis about electronic security.
Yes, yes, we have all those safety protocols built in, absolutely. And then again, you control the access with the link. We also, yes, Councilman.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, we also issue a final report that is written from the perspective of the layman. So the residents of Lewisboro would be able to read this report, understand things like, what is the pavement condition index? Why is that important? So we explain it right here. One of the best features of this report is, and this is a problem that you'll come up with if you follow a robust pavement management program. Here is a brand new road in the village of Hempstead that you can see, it looks like a great road. You can see it's recently paved, but yet we're recommending a rejuvenation treatment. Back to my point earlier that if you get this done early in the life of a road, you'll extend it by years. So here's a situation that you will come up against. 2 residents of the town of Lewisboro, both on roads that really are in bad shape. One road is prioritized over the other because of higher traffic count, more people live on it. Everyone can understand that. So that road gets rebuilt one year. And the resident on the other road in poor condition understands why the prioritization was done that way. But 6 months after the new road was done, the other resident sees that the town is out there putting down this treatment. Now they may get annoyed. Now they may call the supervisor, the superintendent, and say, hey, you guys just rebuilt that road. It's perfectly new. You haven't done anything to my road yet, and you're back working on that road. This explains why you do that. This explains why that road should get a rejuvenation treatment, how inexpensive it is, the years it will lock into the life. And you can say to the resident, the good news is this is benefiting all the taxpayers of the town. And when we do your road, you'll get the same type of treatment. So that's the idea behind the written report.
So how far does the scope of what you offer go? In other words, let's say you come out with a plan and you're recommending rejuvenation treatments that we're talking about on the next number of roads. Where do you also talk about costs or?
Oh, yeah.
Who should do that, or how it should be done most cost effectively? How far do you go? Where does what you do end with the highway department?
Well, we work with the superintendent, we work with the highway department. We are not telling the superintendent what to do. We are giving him the data to make data-driven decisions. We're giving him a communications tool that can really explain to the public why you're doing the things that you are, and he will make all the decisions. He will decide what treatments he thinks work best for Lewisboro roads. What we will do is we'll work with him and answer any questions that he has and his staff has, and maybe introduce some new treatments that have not yet been tried in Lewisboro. We're on top of all the new technologies. There are new treatments, new products being developed all the time. So you would think of it this way, you're expanding your arsenal and your strategies and the ways that you can treat your roads. But ultimately decisions are all made by you. This is not artificial intelligence, telling this is what you're going to do. Those decisions are all made by you, but we're giving you the good data to really explain why you're doing it. And we can document that your roads are going in a positive direction, and you'll be spending your money maximizing the taxpayer investment with every single decision you make.
So I can imagine we'd come to you and, you would see like our budget currently is, $750,000 for paving. And you could tell us, okay, based on that, I'll give you a starting point where if we deploy that in this way, we can take your PCI from here to here.
Correct.
If you spend an extra $30,000 to do more treatment here, we'll get over this hump and we'll get actually to a better place here, or so you give that kind of advice.
Absolutely correct. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, you'll give us the evidence we need to make the proper decision to treat our roads. That's the impression I'm getting from what you
Yes.
just said.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
How long has the company been around? How long doing this? Let's say the metropolitan.
So the company has been around for 20 years, based primarily in Ohio. When I met the company, they were very, very strong in Ohio. We have a very long list of client references that we can share with you. They had one client in New York, again, the Village of Scarsdale here in Westchester County. Jeff Coleman, the commissioner, is very active at the American Public Works Association. That is how he had met Pavement Management Group. In the year that I've been a partner, I've been focusing on New York. We have now delivered to 15 clients, and we are under contract with many more. Here in Westchester County, we have just contracted with the town of Greenberg in the process of delivering that project. We've contracted with Briarcliff Manor and Larchmont. Village of Scarsdale has renewed or is renewing the contract, which they've done a 2-year contract. They are going to renew in their 3rd year. And I expect that we'll be doing many more municipalities based on conversations I'm having with other Westchester towns. We have delivered this program to Putnam County. The Commissioner of Public Works for Putnam County is Tom Ferry. He's been a very strong advocate for us. The town of Smithtown and Suffolk County, Village of Hempstead, you're looking at here. Numerous counties in Orange County where I live, towns in Orange County, including the town where I was once town supervisor, town of Walk Hill. Town of Greece in Monroe County. And we're working with Niagara County and Buffalo County communities right now. So we're really expanding very rapidly in New York. And I will share with you, I'll get to the superintendent, a list of references that I'd invite you to talk to them.
I have a question on the pricing model. So
sure.
25,705. That's just to establish the baseline, correct? The baseline, because you have to
that's for
get the information.
Well, that's for 2 years. That's all inclusive.
Including the updates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's all inclusive for 2 years. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. The one-time data collection, the updates to the PCI based on the work history.
Right.
For 2 years.
Okay.
And then when you 2 years, they do it again.
Correct.
New baseline.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other things about the dashboard, real quick. I know the time is short, but there's lots of other things here. So you can change the views. You can go to satellite imagery, which is very helpful. You know, of course, there's a search bar feature. So a resident calls you to talk about their road. You can go to right to their address, pull up their house, see what it looks like, and have a lot of information to answer their questions. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I see why you're calling. Your PCI is a 5. This is the treatment that we're going to do on your road. We know what it's going to cost. And our commitment to you with this program is that when we do it, we're going to maintain your road and keep it in excellent condition going forward. So lots of neat functionality here. The dashboard is very simple to use. If you notice, every time I just hit this little reset button, it takes you right back to where you were.
And the color-coded layover is functioning for each variation in the
Right.
view that you showed us.
Yes. So if you'd like, so I showed you some bad roads.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at a good road.
After you show us a good road, could you show us also the budget of doing the 4 and the 5 level road for Hempstead?
Absolutely. So here is a good road. Here is. Now you wanted to look at the, so for example.
When you showed the 625,000 for the blue and the green.
Okay, so what we're showing here for the Village of Hempstead.
Yeah.
The failed roads, 8.5 miles, their backlog there is $4.5 million. Okay,
That's what I wanted to see. Thank you.
the backlog for their poor roads, 21.3 miles, $6.1 million. Their backlog for their excellent roads, 11 miles, 260,000 K. So there you see the value of that's the whole idea. You want to start working to spend more of your money over the time in the blues and the greens.
It shows a clear picture of our game plan.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
And a way to communicate it clearly.
The program was designed by James Golden, the founder of the company. Again, working in roadway improvements his entire career, a nationally recognized expert. I noticed, I did my research coming to the board tonight. I see all of you are on LinkedIn. Follow Pavement Management Group and James Golden on LinkedIn. Every day you'll be getting information about roadways and helpful hints.
Very exciting.
Well, the dashboard reminds me of my day job too, so.
maybe it's the technology component. We're going under a premise of highway to redo a mile of road at a certain cost. So as far as when you evaluate the different roads, are the less expensive options that you can target the road conditions, so you're addressing more roads that are less of the total cost.
Well, that gets to really knowing all the different treatments. That's really the art of the pavement management there. So if you want to do, maximizing the investment, minimize costs, you want to look at all the different treatments that are available. You want to prioritize your projects the right way. So we'll be able to say, look, this is a road, superintendent, that you really might want to address this year because it's a little bit worse than this one. And, you can catch this a little bit before it deteriorates to the next level. The real challenge are these roads here. This is where you're fighting the battle. These are the roads that you need to get to pretty soon before they slip into this category. But working with funding the routine rejuvenations, the routine maintenance to your excellent and good roads, you can lock those in and keep those. And that's really where you start to save your taxpayers from your whole town by maintaining the roadway network. And more every year, more and more of your roads will move out of the red and the orange and into the blue and the green. And that's how over time you will actually improve your roadways and spend less money. So I submitted a proposal to the superintendent, and thank you very much for your time. Any other questions?
If we have questions later on, we can reach out to you.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah, John has my number, and absolutely.
One thing I wanted you to show, sorry.
Sure.
No, it's in the.
I really like when you presented to us. You could click a road right now. So pick a road, you click it. Right now, we would know how much it costs.
Could
Not,
you
oh, I gotta sit there and do the math and.
Oh, yeah.
Length, width, depth.
Click-
If we're gonna repave a road.
Yeah.
I could be sitting in my office. I don't gotta go on GIS map. Don't gotta go out there with a tape measure. He will know our laid in place tonnage. There's a formula to figure out the tonnage. We could click the road. So if someone calls and says, I want my road paved. I could say, okay, it's $103. Or $103,000.
I was
I
gonna
could say,
wow,
okay,
that's
I
a
get,
short
that's the
road.
1 ton. I could say, oh, it's 56,000 for your road, or your road is gonna cost $1 million. So if
Can
you
you
could show
do
that.
a
Yeah,
yellow
Those are the ones
So that happens so I'm showing it right now. So every time you click on any road, doesn't matter the color, doesn't matter the condition.
Yeah.
We're saying this is a PCI of 28. We're calling for a structural recommendation of reconstruction, $92,500. So that's a poor road. Here, let's look at a good road. Another thing about the dashboard is you see as I zoom in, the pick list on the left, it starts to shrink. So it only shows you what you're looking at. Here we're looking at section 4 of Jackson Street. Because it's a PCI of 92, an excellent road, we're recommending a rejuvenation. The estimated cost, $2,013.
And so you can pick a road not only from the map, but pick the summit.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yep.
if someone's not visually oriented.
Yes, so you
or
can go,
They've
so
got someone who calls up and says, I need my road repaved, so you can look it up from.
just randomly, I'm clicking on the pick
Yeah,
list,
yeah.
it brings you right there. Okay, you also could go to the search tool and enter in a specific address. It will bring you right there.
Excellent.
It's very user friendly, very easy to use. I mean, it doesn't really, we have people who will train people on using the dashboard, but it's very intuitive. It's very simple.
Does the technology allow you to incorporate use, let's say, let's say that how many vehicles are traveling a particular highway, can you factor that in based upon this amount of usage? This is what we project as far as it'll go from this level to this level in X amount of time.
We can tell that by certain distresses. So there are distresses that are load related distresses. So for example, rutting, when you have tracks in a road, or raveling, when the small aggregates come up, those are load related distresses. Cracking, block cracking, or climate related distresses. And in that spreadsheet that I pulled up, if I could get very granular on this, if you'd like.
Please, just for a moment.
Oh, okay. So we can pull up And I might need Sean to come back then when I need to get back. So here in our spreadsheet, I would draw your attention to the fact that, and this is something that we do that's quite unique. Our PCI is very, very accurate to American Society of Testing Material Standards. Here we're saying that this road, we gave it a 43, a 4. We are showing that 52% load, climate-related load, 43% load, and then the 5% other is things like patching. So when you go into this video, you're going to expect to see those types of distresses. And there you go. We've got a lot of patching. We've got some rutting here. That's the beauty of the video. You can verify everything.
Started to freeze, I'm sorry.
Chief, can you increase the temperature? Yeah. Increase the floor, but I guess it's
Kick back in. Some of us.
I got it.
I think that's good information. And do we need any more questions tonight, or can we?
I think this was excellent. This was a good presentation.
Thank you very much.
Howard. And
Thank you.
regroup, talk to superintendent and yeah.
And we thank
Figure out
you
next
for
steps.
the presentation and information.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Good smile and it's.
I couldn't explain that, the lady.
All right.
Mike.
So we have Mike.
Just one quick question. Previous scouts have shown up at the town planning board, and yet these two showed here. I have more scouts in the pipeline. Why the difference?
I think.
Well, here they get permission from us to do work on town property.
Yeah.
Right.
So why were the other guys at the planning board?
The other ones were here first, and then some told they had to go planning after, which was.
I would think it depends on what the project is.
Very similar. Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe where.
I don't
You
think
know
it's
what, Mike,
rare, but yeah. go ahead.
We can look into it and try and make it.
Again, I want to guide them in the
simplified,
right direction
yeah.
and not waste
Right.
time for.
We
this
can talk
group.
offline about that. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, thank you.
Okay.
I gotta move on.
Thanks, Mike.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night. Okay. Now we have discussion on the payroll and time management systems. It's Annie's turn.
This is just riveting information
gonna
for our
be
residents
exciting.
tonight.
Yeah. I had sent you guys a letter
Yes.
detailing everything, and I printed out the proposals. You wanted like a visual? So we can pick one of
Yeah,
those.
thank you.
So where this is coming from is, since I started, now I've been here a few months and I'm starting to see where we can find some improvement in the processes here and where we can be a little bit more efficient, less paper-based, all those things. So coming from Pound Ridge, I use Paychex and the town of Lewisboro uses ADP. ADP is a very big company. They have a lot of capabilities. They serve big corporations. Paychex is as big, but is a lot more in tune with things the town needs payroll wise. It's a much more user-friendly interface. ADP, we've had some challenges with when we call for help with a report or help on what's ADP is showing for, say, a particular employee. We're connected to a call center where Paychex has a dedicated representative that would be for the town of Lewisboro and a few other towns.
They seem to be more suited to like small business and
Yes.
smaller entities.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the best part is that their proposal that they came up with is in line with our current spending. So we're not going over budget and we're going to be able to add in time and attendance and we had a presentation, Paychex gave a presentation to the department heads, which Chief was there, John, Cheryl,
Nicole, and they kind of showed them the interface and what that's going to look like when, instead of handing paper to the finance department and us entering it in ADP, they're going to go into ADP and manage their employees' time there, or go into Paychex, I'm sorry, and manage their time, their employees' time there, approve time off. People, it's all going to be there for them to use, which they don't have any interaction with ADP now at all. And ADP's offer for the same level of time and attendance was basically cost prohibitive. And the proposal they gave us, that's like a 3-year pricing, and in year 4, the jump was a lot. So this was a lock-in of 3-year pricing of their proposal, and year 4 was a significant jump outside of that.
So what is this proposal allowing us to do that we're not doing now?
So I just find that payroll takes a lot of time for the finance department to process every 2 weeks. It's almost like a full day, full work day, and sometimes a day and a half. And I haven't even seen seasonals yet. So having done payroll for Pound Ridge using Paychex with seasonal at the peak, it never took longer than, say, a half of a day.
So it helps from an efficiency standpoint as far as that. So what does it free up to do?
Well, Ruggiera is our intermediate clerk who works on payroll mostly, and I review after she does, but there are a lot of things that we can start to improve. Now that I'm here, I'm spreading my wings a little bit and trying to find things that we can make more efficient and more user-friendly, and there's going to be very little disruption to the departments as it is now.
That was gonna be my next question.
Yeah.
Even though without stating any names, is there any pushback on the idea of sharing the burden a little bit with the department?
There was not. I got overwhelming support from everybody who attended their demonstration, which I was happy with. Right now, like the time thing that I think we're going to see a big benefit from, and employees will see it too, is that right now everybody's time off is managed in like Excel, basically. So when they so now they can't even see it in ADP on your paycheck, how much time you've taken and how much you have left, which I think I've heard from people say that that's something that they would like to see. And that's something that will enter everybody's, like, all that accumulated time off. So we can see, potential payouts when somebody retires or resigns. We're going to have a lot more visibility all within Paychex that we don't have right now.
And there's a time and attendance piece as well.
Yes. So
that we don't have today.
We don't have that. No,
Right.
Everything's on paper.
Right.
The paper timesheets come to the finance department, get typed into ADP. Another thing I like about Paychex is the rec department uses When I Work for their seasonal employees. It's like a geofenced app that they can schedule and submit the time. Paychex can upload that, can put that data into an upload file that ADP was going to charge us extra for. They can't do that as we have it now. And another good thing about Paychex is that they're considered a NICELRS, the New York State and Local Retirement, a preferred paycheck payroll provider, where ADP is not.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, instead of us submitting a report to retirement every month, NICELRS can come in and take it from Paychex themselves. So that's going to free up that time too. And that provides a whole lot of accuracy.
It sounds like we'd be joining the 21st century.
Yeah.
Feels like it.
Yeah,
It's
and
funny.
go ahead.
I think we've switched back and forth a number of times since I've been on, and I swear we had Paychex at
I
one
think
point.
Cheryl said the same thing.
And, but if it's getting good reviews from folks now.
But we never had the time and attendance piece.
No, so last
Right.
year, Sarah and Carrie's been super helpful in all this. They had several presentations to add time and attendance to ADP.
Right.
And that was cost prohibitive, obviously,
Mhm.
but I got a lot of really useful information from what they saw versus what I know Paychex can do. So that was really, really helpful. She's been very helpful.
How's the actual project to transition over? I assume they're stealing customers from each other all the time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They probably have a button to push and just,
They have a lot of experience with transitioning towns of our size from ADP to Paychex.
okay.
I think it's.
A couple of weeks or something.
So we would start using them pending your approval and your support. We would start using them with the second payroll in June. And the time and attendance piece would be built out over like 6 to 8 weeks. So we could start using time and attendance as soon as like August.
What's our
September.
commitment to ADP? Like, do we have any signed agreement that we, are in contract with them for?
No, I think it was, you were signed for a year. So this would lock it in for 3 years, but we don't have to do that option. We can be locked in for 1 year and
No,
then we
I-
just
Are we
renegotiate the
gonna
price.
owe ADP any money for the remainder of the contract for the term that we
No.
don't use or anything like that?
We don't have a termination clause as far, I looked into that.
Yeah,
So
we'll look at that, but
Mhm.
as a matter of fact, you're looking to increase.
they are. We got an email yesterday or like last week that they're gonna increase their fees.
It looking to increase.
ADP.
ADP.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just heard the word they and we're talking about a couple of different.
Yeah, no, so,
companies.
and I did give ADP the opportunity to present the same level that Paychex and the other one we used was NeoGov. We heard all of their presentations out, we aired all of our concerns and what we would need, and just ADP's answer to everything was like, that's gonna cost extra, that's gonna cost extra. So Paychex is really a more comprehensive, inclusive pricing plan that would make so much more sense, in my opinion.
And on the time and attendance, so today we have, for example, the highway guys, they
They punch a clock, yeah, it's
punch
like.
clock, right? So that's go away.
So yeah, the options there, which they have a few options. They have their own kiosks, but we can provide the departments with either a tablet or a laptop, and the employees just log in with their credentials and sign themselves in. And there's controls in place where they can't do it from anywhere else but the highway department. They have the app that we use now is called When I Work, and Paychex has their own version of that. It's a geo-fenced app that the seasonal employee has to be in a certain location to be able to clock in. They can't clock in from home.
Right.
And someone can clock in for them.
No, there's a lot of controls for like, they call that buddy punching, I guess, so. Yeah, there's individual pins. I mean, they had one advanced one that was like a retina scan. I didn't think we needed anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah.
So this sounds great. Do we even need a resolution to do this? Because it's your budget and it's not costing anything or?
It's within the existing budget, right?
It is, yes. So that's the best part about their pricing is that we're getting so much
It's not
more,
contract.
including time and attendance for what we're spending on ADP
But
now.
because it's a contract, wouldn't we have
You-
to give?
You'd be accepting the proposal of Paychex for the,
Yeah, so we received the contract today over DocuSign.
Mhm.
So we need to review the fine print.
Right. I have to go through that.
Right.
I just got it. as I was-
Right, so for here, we can, right, so, yeah.
So we can just move, approve moving ahead and getting the appropriate documents and finalization and then vote on it at the next board meeting? Would you need us to vote on it tonight?
I think you would
We need
authorize.
Tonight.
Tonight. Authorize, somebody with motion to authorize supervisor to sign the contract, subject to review of
Right.
fine print.
final attorney review. That was right.
Beautiful. I'll make that motion.
And I will second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
All right, very excited.
This will free her up to answer more of my questions when I call. I
Exactly.
love that.
Okay. All right, next we have discussion on getting permission to go to bid for cameras at Town Parks and Highway Department. So I'll ask Nicole to come up to the podium and explain.
Okay, so basically since early December, I have had quite a bit of vandalism on my fields. So Fox Valley Lower, Onatru Fields, and most recently in April, a recycling can set on fire at Fox Valley and a vehicle drove on the field at Vista. So each time I've contacted the chief, they would come out, they look into it. We didn't have any leads. So I've taken funds from my budget to repair the fields, to replace these items. And I contacted the chief a few weeks ago and said, I know you visited this a few years ago, and I'd like to revisit it because we just have this continuous vandalism. So we've started, putting chains up and trying to block off as much as we can so that individuals cannot drive their vehicles on the fields, but they still find a way. So
Can you quantify
If they come in groups.
cost of the vandalism?
I use funds from my budget. It's a couple $1,000 and, you know,
Every time.
yes, every time, and my guy's time and all of that. So, you know, there were 2 instances where we knew the individuals. They took care of it. That was on 2 separate other, you know, things over the past few years, but we're just at the point now that we would like to install cameras and LPRs into Town Park, Ontario, and Fox Valley.
Giving it your approximation as far as the total vandalism cost, because we're talking about spending a certain amount of money in order to have an impact upon preventing something that's costing us money, so.
I'd say probably, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000.
Each time.
No, in
And it's
total.
also a crime deterrent. I mean, we've had
Oh.
issues with.
I wouldn't just say the vandalism,
Yeah.
we've had dog bites, that go undetected, we've had sex crimes, we've had some other penal law violations.
So this sounds all great. My only question is this, is that because they'd be put in at the parks and at the highway where we have town employees, is that gonna create any union pushback, council?
Public area. Bringing it in the.
Well, highway isn't, it's,
Putting them inside the building. This is all
No,
in the
but-
common outside area. And you're gonna post that it's under surveillance, right? And
thank you.
Like the composting bins.
Well, there's nothing with, since it's a public area, we have minors that are being. It's not.
you're going to have to post that it's under surveillance so that people are aware. No, they're-
We've also had minors jump the fence and, you know, go to the pool late at night as well.
Yes, yeah. Taking all the fun stuff away. That was a joke. Anybody send me nasty emails, I understand the safety issue.
Oh my gosh, sitting here as a mom.
I know.
Asking for permission on it, so we don't have an idea what, do we know the scope of how many cameras and.
So the chief and I met with 3 companies. The first one we really liked. They're probably the most expensive, but very detailed. We then tried to, when we met with the other 2, explain exactly what we wanted. Some couldn't do the trench work, some incorporated that, others wanted to put cameras on NYSEG poles, others will not, you know, so there was just a lot of differing quotes. And because of the price, it would be over 35,000. We do have to go out to bid. So. And then John kind of hopped in and wants something at Highway and over at the Salt Dome. So I would include that.
And so there's this initial cost of 35,000, let's say, and then is there recurring?
So we would have to look into what they're proposing,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
So you'd work together to do I'm trying to speak loudly, having been criticized for that in the past. I'll use my library voice. So you'll have to make sure that the RFP is consistent with what you need and make sure that they follow the RFP.
Correct.
So it's consistent response.
Correct.
What are we contemplating by the way of data? Like, I just think the, you know, the police as far as the cameras and stuff, where are we gonna see the data that can be?
It would be cloud-based.
So some of that's, the first company that we met with is all cloud-based. You can literally log on from anywhere, they send you email alerts. So, then once again, we're off at 11. Anything, no one's supposed to be in the park after nightfall. So you could set parameters throughout the entire park. If a car comes in, I could get an email or an officer could get an email working. They can track when people are walking through, the camera will actually focus in on them.
Triggered by mobile.
So that was the first company, and a lot of their technology was top notch. It was, you know, 2025. Some of these other companies that we met with, there's a DVR. It was, you know, go to Costco and get a 20 camera system and put it up. And I'll be honest with you, some of them were like, oh, it's low light conditions, this camera won't go out to here. Meanwhile, the first guy was like, oh yeah, this is not a problem. We could go, you could pan all the way out 260 degrees and, you know, zoom in 1,000 feet. So there is a lot of, the first company was up here where I don't think you're gonna have any problems. You can still add cameras, and we did minimal cameras, I think, for what we need, but you could always add on if we find, dead spots or anything like that.
And their technology is secure?
Yes.
Anybody else doing this Parks and Rec wise to you?
I actually emailed out to all of these superintendents basically, and they each gave me their companies. So that's why I just kind of picked 3 that were close by. But everybody has them in their parks and town buildings, facilities.
Harrison has them all over the town.
Yeah.
They're on every street and.
And the requirement is gonna be to have LPRs with all the installations?
Just at the
Just at the end,
entrances.
okay,
So, okay, the cars coming in or the cars coming out,
right,
and hopefully grab the plate.
okay.
So, I mean, all these parks, you can't really canvas, there's no houses nearby where you can go door to door and hey,
Right.
The ring camera, can we check, take a look, get a
Right.
visual of a vehicle.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't anyway, they're all so remote.
So who has Parks and Rec and LPD have simultaneous access to it, or?
We haven't
We-
discussed that, but it could be anybody really.
Right.
With proper security plans.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So,
Would you like to?
I move that, with the assistance of council.
Director of Parks and Recs to go out to bid for the cameras and LPRs, park and highway facilities.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, thanks, Nicole.
Maybe we can see if there's a grant opportunities through the process.
Yep. Okay, next we have Stevens Memorial United Methodist Church. They are the facility that our seniors currently use. And they are extending the existing agreement, correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, but they're extending our existing agreement. But the cost per meeting is going up by $50.
Correct.
So the total payable to Stevens for the dates in this facility use agreement is $3,900.
What's the target for increasing it?
Well, we've been the last 6 months without a renewed contract, lease agreement, so. Pam was trying before she left, tried before the end of 2024 and was not renewed.
And I think they said that they're incurring additional costs also.
Correct. With the cost of electricity as well as the time to set up and clean up.
So they're passing on some additional increased cost to us.
Correct.
So
A second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item G, I'm gonna take that off the agenda for this evening. So we'll move on to the public comment. Number 2, for new business only. Anyone here would like to say anything? How about on Zoom?
Barbara Mangione, I'm asking you to unmute.
How is that?
Perfect.
Thank you. Tony, I do apologize. This is not new business, but also what you talked about before wasn't on the agenda, so I would have asked you earlier. So please just bear with me. I try to stick to the rules. You mentioned the purchase of the property, the building. That's good news. And I was wondering if maybe during polling of the board, you can just answer some very few questions like where are we getting the money from? Are we taking it from the fund balance? I'm assuming the building is ADA compliant, but I'm just asking, is there enough parking for both the amount of people who are going to be working there and residents coming in? And also, is there a possibility of any room there for the seniors and or community? Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara.
Anybody else? That's it?
That's it.
Okay, so next we have announcements. The town board meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 7:30 PM. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Approval of claims, sorry. So I'd like to go ahead and motion to approve claims.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, polling of the board. Andrea.
We all, well, most of us attended the Memorial Day ceremonies yesterday, both at the Golden's Bridge Fire Department as well as on Spring Street leading up to the townhouse. The ceremonies were, I got a lot of feedback. Everybody was really thrilled with the ceremonies, just a good feeling, beautiful day. Gorgeous pictures on everybody's Facebook feeds that I saw that were in the room. It was nice to see the South Salem Presbyterian Church give it their first shot to come back to have a little mini fair again, which was a nice feeling. They had a band playing, so thank you to everyone that came out. It really was a really good hometown spirit, so thank you very much. That being said, we have the 4th of July fireworks are coming up, and as you all may be aware, the town always looks for sponsors for the fireworks. So if you have it in your heart to become a sponsor, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary.
I received a message from the niece of one of the fallen soldiers highlighted. Deb Hastings lives in Wayton, and she wrote to me, "It was a pleasure and an honor to spend with you and all of the folks involved with yesterday's Golden's Bridge Memorial Day event. I was very impressed with the ceremonies that were so meticulously prepared to celebrate the day, and of course with the touching remembrance of the young men who died in World War II. Thanks to Mark and John and the members of the Veterans Advisory Committee for making such a difference for all of us.
Yes.
It was quite moving, this makes me quite proud to bear witness to the memories that they bring to life. Brought in my check for the dog license for my dogs. Please remember to send your, to renew your licenses for your dogs with the town clerk. It's $10 a dog, so it's well worth keeping our community safe. The other events that are coming up in June are also Juneteenth on June 14th. From 12 to 4. Also looking for sponsors. We've already received a couple of checks, so thank you to those people, and Pride as well. So look forward to seeing you at all of them.
Good, thanks, Mary. Dan?
Just note that, we again, at the beginning of the meeting, we had some folks with some input about challenges they have on their local roads with speeding, with high volume traffic and whatnot. And we've been talking about trying to take some steps or test out some traffic calming measures on these roads. They tend to be the collector roads, and I guess Main Street counts as one of those. So I hope we can move forward. We were looking at Ridgefield Avenue. That's maybe the first place to try out the speed table concept. And so we'll try to get some information about getting that done in terms of getting an engineer to confirm a design and look at that and bring that to the board here.
I think we all got an email from a resident who was concerned with the enormous amount of multifamily building in the town of Ridgefield and the potential and likely increased traffic on the back roads and the Route 35. So with the continued development of Ridgefield, these problems and these issues are probably going to be exacerbated. So
sure, yeah.
Rich.
Just want to echo the sentiments of the other board members. It's very moving and meaningful. Memorial Day ceremonies, both in Golden's Bridge, South Salem. Only thank you for your work as far as conducting those. Just want to join also Steve Mangione and Golden Bridge and John Lemke and all that. Just we have just an opportunity to commemorate the ultimate sacrifice that people gave on behalf of our country to keep us safe, keep us free. Lots of important events coming up. We have Juneteenth coming up, Pride Month celebration. Please get involved and participate in celebrations. Big part of Lewisboro celebration last week now, but participate. Check fireworks, we can make sure that we come there. Great event. What's the date on that?
It's the Saturday before 4th of July. So.
Check on the town calendar.
And we learned a very important thing. We have two organizations in town with the same acronym.
was gonna say.
Lewisboro
Held back.
Volunteer.
Actually,
Volunteer
well,
Ambulance Corps and Lewisboro Veterans Advisory Council. So we had a little bit of,
I had a Freudian slip at the Golden
Yes.
Bridge ceremony. I call them the Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
of that one.
But it's okay. I mean,
See.
the other over. So yeah, the Memorial Day ceremonies were great. The parade was both in Golden Bridge here in South Salem. Were terrific. The amount of people that came out was pretty awesome. I think it was I don't know, maybe a record crowd here in front of the townhouse. So it was beautiful weather, really good event. In memory of the fallen. So yeah, it's a great event. And thanks again to John Lemke and Mike Weber for all the work they do in support of the veterans. To answer the questions regarding the purchase of the building at 892 Route 35. Yes, it's a 3-story building. It does have an elevator. It has ADA compliant bathrooms.
On all 3 floors.
Yes.
2 floors, I believe 2 floors. 1 floor, I think the 3rd floor is not 80.
Right, the 3rd floor because it's private.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. So it's set up like an office building, so it's a really nice space. So we're looking forward to beginning the move of LES offices initially. As far as the potential use of a community room, it does not have it's not sectioned off to have a large community space. There is a meeting room which could potentially be used, but it's not suited to be a community room. So we'll have to think about where to have a community room going forward. In terms of yeah, this is just part 1, right? Exactly. So there's going to be some other steps in the process, and the goal, of course, is to support all our offices, our PD, our court, and have the community space that we need, including for our seniors. In terms of the funding, yes, I actually am waiting for bond counsel to put together a bond resolution in case we decide to borrow, and we'll figure out the amount that we want to borrow. My goal, of course, is to keep the cost to the taxpayer as low as possible. So we want to reduce the debt service. So it could be a combination of fund balance together with some borrowing. So we're going to figure out what those numbers are, and then have that figured out before the closing on the property. In terms of parking, it currently supports about 18 or 19 spots. There is room for expansion, so we're going to be looking at that initially to expand and add some additional parking. So I think that answers all the questions that Barbara had. But thank you, Barbara, for the questions. Okay. So now I can do the announcement. The next town board meeting is Monday, June 9th, 7:30 p.m. here at the Townhouse, 11 Main Street, South Salem. And now I will motion to go into executive session to discuss a couple of personnel issues, and a potential appointment. So thank you. Yeah, motion. Yeah, I get a second. Discussion. All in favor? All right. Thank you all for coming out. Everyone here in the room, everyone over Zoom. See you next time.